Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any important updates. Today, we are going to talk about a very hot topic making headlines across Nigeria. Yes, we are discussing the recent controversy involving Dele Momodu and his accusations against President Bola Tinubu regarding the VIP escort withdrawal policy and how this has allegedly targeted former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Stay with me, because this is a story that affects politics, security, and the way people perceive fairness in governance. So, here's the story in simple terms. Recently, the administration led by President Bola Tinubu introduced a new directive concerning police escorts assigned to VIPs. The official reasoning behind this decision was to reform the use of police resources, redirecting officers from escorting high-profile individuals to frontline duties aimed at enhancing public security. The government argued that police officers should not be used for private protection when there is an urgent need for them in communities facing insecurity, kidnappings, and rising criminal activity. The policy was framed as a reform, a move to make policing more effective and to ensure that police manpower is focused on protecting ordinary citizens rather than a privileged few. It sounds reasonable on paper, right? More officers on the streets should mean safer communities, and in principle, this could improve public trust in the police. But, as with many political decisions, the rollout sparked debate and controversy almost immediately. What triggered the uproar was the circulation of a list online claiming to show the names of VIPs whose escorts were being withdrawn. Among these names were former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and other high-profile figures. This list quickly gained attention and raised concerns, especially because some of these names were supposed to still be entitled to protection under constitutional provisions. However, within a short time, the list was declared fake. But the damage was already done. Public attention focused on whether this withdrawal policy was truly about reform or if it was being used as a political tool. This is where Dele Momodu stepped in. In a commentary he released shortly after the controversy, he accused President Tinubu of using the policy to target opposition figures, particularly Atiku Abubakar. Momodu argued that this was not a genuine attempt to improve security but rather a calculated political move, a strategy to make certain individuals appear less influential and vulnerable while signaling control and power. According to Momodu, including Atiku on this so-called list was deliberate. The aim, he claimed, was to create the perception that former opposition leaders were being singled out, while others aligned with the government were left unaffected. This, he said, was an attempt to reshape public perception and to manipulate political influence. Momodu strongly suggested that the entire situation was a political chess move, with the VIP escort withdrawal being a piece used to achieve broader objectives. Now, let's break this down for you. On one hand, the government insists this is a reform, moving police officers from escort duties to community policing. That is a positive step if implemented correctly. The idea is to reduce elitism in policing, ensure resources are used efficiently, and provide better security coverage for citizens who need it most. But, as always, the way policies are rolled out matters. The circulation of a misleading list undermined the credibility of the policy and made it appear politically motivated. The debate here is deeper than just a list or a policy. It raises fundamental questions about how security and governance intersect with politics. If security measures are used selectively, targeting opposition figures or those not aligned with the ruling government, it risks eroding trust in public institutions. People might begin to question whether reforms are genuinely for public good or simply tools for political maneuvering. At the heart of this story is a broader issue of public perception and trust. When people see former officials like Atiku Abubakar allegedly targeted under a policy, it creates the impression that security is a privilege tied to political loyalty rather than a right for everyone. That's dangerous in a democracy. Public confidence in the fairness and neutrality of institutions like the police is critical. Once that trust is compromised, it becomes very difficult to maintain a perception of impartiality. Now, what does this mean for ordinary Nigerians? First, if the VIP escort policy truly leads to police officers being more present in communities, this could increase safety and reduce crime, which is positive. But it also means that influential figures might need to find alternative security arrangements, which raises questions about equity and fairness. Second, it is important for the public to be cautious about circulating lists, rumors, or unverified information. Misinformation can easily escalate controversies and create unnecessary fear or confusion. Politically, this controversy sets an interesting stage. Opposition figures may respond by challenging the policy or demanding clear explanations, while supporters of the administration may highlight it as a reform that demonstrates efficiency and accountability. How this plays out will influence public opinion, media narratives, and possibly even future political contests. And let me tell you, this is not just a Nigerian story about VIPs and escorts. It reflects a global principle: how governments balance security reform with political neutrality. Anytime a government introduces a policy affecting high-profile individuals, perception matters as much as reality. If the public believes that the move is selective or targeted, the policy loses legitimacy, no matter the stated intentions. Now, I want to remind you again, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Staying informed is key, and your support helps us bring you these updates in a clear and understandable way. As we continue, I want to discuss what might happen next. Will there be legal challenges? Could opposition leaders demand reinstatement of their security details? How will this affect public trust in the police and in government? These are important questions to consider because the story is still developing. The reactions from the public, political analysts, and civil society organizations will shape the narrative in the coming weeks. Another angle to consider is the implementation of the policy itself. Policies can look perfect on paper, but execution determines success. If police officers are genuinely redirected to frontline duties and communities see a tangible improvement in security, this could bolster the credibility of the government. Conversely, if the policy is implemented unevenly or perceived as selective, it will feed the controversy and may even escalate political tensions. Remember, people, the core of this story is about fairness, governance, and public trust. Security is not a privilege for a few, it is a right for all citizens. Policies should be evaluated based on their impact on the general population, not just on political optics. This is why it is critical for governments to communicate clearly, act transparently, and ensure that reforms are seen as genuine and equitable.